You have made it to one of the most remarkable examples of medieval architecture in the whole world. I welcome you to the magnificent Mont Saint-Michel, the mountain of Saint Michael. Standing on a rock peak, the church of Mont Saint-Michel has a commanding view over the vast bay. This bay was, however, in prehistoric times a part of the coastland. Over millions of years, rising sea levels led to erosion, which tore down and shaped the coastal landscape. Some blocks of granite resisted the wear and tear of the ocean better than its surroundings, which is why Mont Saint-Michel, together with a few other rocks, is standing tall in an otherwise flat and ever-changing landscape. The origin of the Mont Saint-Michel dates back to the 6th and 7th century, when Armorican Gauls used the island as a stronghold of Breton culture and power. During this time, the island was known as Mont. After the Romans left Britannia, today's United Kingdom, in the mid-5th century, many Britons crossed the Channel due to an ever-increasing fear of Anglo-Saxon influence. This emigration is the reason why the region is called Bretagne, in English Brittany or Little Britain. The Mont served as a stronghold until it was later sacked by the Franks, which ended the era of Celtic cultural links between Britannia and the region of Bretagne. This site got its current name in 709, when the Bishop of Orange, Saint Aubert, ordered a small church to be built here. The legend says that the Archangel Saint Michael, leader of the armies of heaven, appeared before the bishop and instructed him to build the church on this rocky isle. Today, a golden statue of Saint Michael can be seen at the top of the church spire, protecting and overlooking the entire island. The original church was rather small, but the church and its surroundings grew as time passed. Much of the construction was financed by ducal patronage. After the Norman conquest of England in 1066, the church gave its support to Duke William of Normandy in his claim to the English throne. This resulted in the church gaining both political and financial power to expand the constructions on Mont Saint-Michel. The church was originally a typical Romanesque church, but it too, as many other churches during the late medieval period, was affected by the wave of Gothic architecture that spread throughout Europe. The church is today seen as a Gothic-style church. Throughout the Middle Age, a village grew up around the church, mostly on the eastern side of the island. Many of these old buildings are still standing today. In the 14th century, during the 100-Year War between France and England, the church of Mont Saint-Michel and its surrounding village were fortified in order to be able to fend off English attackers. Much of the walls around the island dates back to this period. The English did assault the island several times, but were unable to seize it. The island has ever since its creation been a place of pilgrimage, but its importance grew during the Middle Age. For nearly 1,000 years, people have traveled to Mont Saint-Michel in hope of salvation. The land strip between land and the island was called the Path to Paradise, and it's quite easy to understand the fascination people had and still have with this place. Mont Saint-Michel stands like a beacon of light in the flat landscape, and is almost like taken from a fairy tale or a movie. Its popularity as a center of pilgrimage did, however, decrease with the Reformation, which began in the early 16th century. By the time of the French Revolution, there were scarcely any monks in residence. After the Revolution, the church was closed and converted into a prison, designed to hold religious and political enemies of the new regime. In 1836, influential figures, including the popular writer Victor Hugo, launched a campaign to restore what was seen as a national architectural treasure. This led to a closure of the prison almost 30 years later, and the island was declared a historic monument in 1874. While the Mont Saint-Michel itself is breathtaking, it is not the only thing that the area is known for. The other thing is of course the tidal water. Tide is caused by the gravity of the sun and the moon, together with the Earth's rotation. The tide varies the most shortly after a full moon. The site you're visiting right now has the highest tides in all of Europe. It varies greatly, roughly 15 meters between the high and low water marks. This area also has some of the fastest moving tides. During the period when it shifts the most, the sea pulls back 15 kilometers from the coast and comes in again very quickly. As Victor Hugo described it, the water moves as swiftly as a galloping horse. Needless to say, it is dangerous to venture alone into the bay. Mont Saint-Michel was the first French site to be added to the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites in 1979. It was listed with criteria such as cultural, historical, of architectural significance, as well as human-created and natural beauty. It's a clear sign of how special and unique this place really is. While the site no longer attracts masses of pilgrims, it attracts another type of visitor, you guessed it, tourists. The island itself only has a population of around 50, but it is visited by around 3.5 million people each year. As you now know, Mont Saint-Michel has been an important site throughout history, mostly as a religious site, but also as a military fortification.